Nato. I'm back again this week on my program, Bits and Physics with Murphy Ojo. Where are we? I think we've really gone far on this topic we are dealing with. My intention is to go to another topic today, but I received some text messages and some direct messages from my Instagram, so I won't go to another topics. I'll just round up and the overview of what we've been discussing for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Last time, what did we do? We deal with medication. That is how to administer medication, how to fill mash out, and then how to do, just to know your medication, to know your stuff, to know what you are doing. So that's what we do. So what I'm going to do today is I'll now start from when I started this program to what we did yesterday. Then by next week, I would rather jump to another topic instead of today. And I will discuss what I received, the message I said I received. I will discuss on that one too. So you are welcome. Let me start from where we started. We started from telling the carers that we all have duty of care towards the people we are caring for. It does not necessarily mean what you have to do has to be in support plan. There are a few other things that are not in support plan, but because you care about that client, you're supposed to do them. Even if you don't do them, you're supposed to raise alarm. You're supposed to take the next step to be there for them. Even if it's not your responsibility, but it's our responsibility, whoever we are, to look after other people. That was when I made an example of myself, passing through the road and somebody had a fall. It's my responsibility. I owe that person a duty of care, a responsibility to call an ambulance. I could walk away because there was no responsibility attached to that person from my own end. But common sense actually told me that, okay, you have to do this. This is what common sense told me. Just pick up your phone, call somebody to look after about that person. It could be me next time. So that is why I said, if you are a carer and you are looking after any one of your clients, and that client is, maybe they're not living with their family. Let me first start from that angle. They're not living with their family. They're living alone. You realize that maybe where they live is uninhabitable. Maybe they don't really clean their house very well, or somebody have been there before cleaning the house, and suddenly something happened, and realized that, okay, there's a bit of changes. This place is not habitable. Somebody with human being, even an animal, shouldn't be living here. So it's your responsibility to raise the alarm. They are not saying you have to clean the place. Let's say they really don't have food in the house, and you realize that, okay, this person has not been eating the way she should be eating, and they are still able. They are able. It's not that they do not have capacity. They have capacity to look after themselves. But because of one thing or the other, you realize that in terms of feeding, something is missing. It's your responsibility to take it up. Though it's not your job to feed them or to prepare food for them, but still you realize that that thing is missing there. It's a responsibility because somebody might be abusing them. Somebody might be somewhere, maybe financially, somebody that's supposed to be giving them money is not giving them the money at the right time, or somebody is coming down to their house to steal their food, all those stuff. So when you pick it up, they might be able to quickly pick something up that will have gone wrong if it left unattended to. So you just have to step in to do that thing. Let's say, okay, it's not about them living alone. Maybe they're living with a member of their family, but you realize that human beings should be living the way they're living. Your own job is to walk in there, just give them maybe personal care or anything, and not walk away. Give them personal care, give them medication, and walk away. Nothing concerns you with the way they live, all the stuff. Still, it is your responsibility under law. It is your responsibility to be there for them, to raise the alarm, to report to the right people. Okay, this is what I noticed that is going on. I don't think the family are doing what they should be doing. I don't think they're treating my client, the way they should be treating him or her. So those things, once you pick it up and you raise it to the right quarter, that is when it will lead us to how to report. Even when you pick all these things up, how do you feedback to your offices or to the superior ones? Because there's a way to do it. I've been a victim of that kind of a thing. When I saw that kind of a thing, I raised it. A carer raises it to me, and I raise it. But still, when the problem arises, to some extent, I was still at fault. Even I actually raised it. I actually reported it. But at that particular point in time, I didn't go far enough. So that is what, from you being able to pick up all those things, and then now leads us to reporting. Then, how to report. Immediately you see this thing, just call maybe your coordinator. I believe that is most of the time first point of contact, except because it depends on the hierarchy of order within your organization. It might be from top down, or down to top, or from down just to the top straight. If you have access to your register manager, I don't know. It depends on the structure within the organization. So, but mainly most of the time, I believe it's from carer to the coordinators most of the time, and then coordinator then will throw it up. So you report it straight to your coordinator. If your coordinator do nothing, after a day or two, you need to remind the coordinator, because I've been there, I know what it takes. Sometimes there might be a lot of jobs on him or her, because apart from that job is not it's not an easy job. They deal with a lot of things. They have to be responsible for you, to the client family, to their manager, to almost everybody. They make sure that, okay, there is a free flow of activity within the organization. They do a lot. I know what it takes to be a care coordinator. It's a very tough job. So you remind them, so this is what is going on. I called you last time. I informed you last time about this, and still nothing has been done. Then, from that point in time, if after a day or two, nothing has been done, you have the right to quickly report to your manager. And even within a few days, your manager did nothing. I believe somebody must have done something. It's not, though it can slip through, it's possible, but it's very, very rare that nothing will be done. But in case they did nothing to it, go back to them and report it, and tell them, remind them, this is what is going on. And if nothing was done, then you can report to social services. You can check who is responsible for the funding or everything of that, the care package of that client. If it is social services, or you can report to them. That is a safeguarding issue. And you can also take it to police. In my own case, last time when I said, okay, we had a client that was brought home from hospital by the ambulance. The first ambulance brought her home, and they realized that that place is not habitable. They threw her back into the hospital. They returned her to the hospital, because that particular ambulance guy realized that this is not a place a woman being should be living. Because they need bed at the hospital, they just discharged. The following, I think 24 hours later, they just took her back home. And that particular one just dumped her in between that rubbish. So we went there for the assessment the following day, and we saw what happened, and it was no human being will live there. So from that time onward, I started calling, started sending emails here and there, and this one we push it to that one, this one we push to that one, this one we push to that one. Even the hospital social worker that I had a direct contact with, that actually was part of the staging team, actually pushed me to another social worker. I went through to that social worker. That one pushed me back. Started sending email and suddenly this thing escalated. And it was then they said, okay, safeguarding against us. For what? That, okay, it's not enough for us to be saying that you write an email, you're calling this person, all those, you're supposed to have go further. But when they realized that when we get to the main case, it will bust against them, you just have to drop the safeguarding issue, and then the woman was taken back to the hospital. Because whatever they wanted to prove that if they did nothing, what did I do? Why did I go to the police? You can imagine social worker telling me, why did I go back to the police? Why didn't you go to the police to report to the police? Why did you escalate it when we did nothing? That's the same person that was calling, that was pushing me here and there. And I realized that, okay, you are right. You are very, very right. Next time, I will do. I don't care to lose that contract. And I will not even lose the contract. So you just have to cover your back. That's the main thing in this job. It is, you can report it and still be the culprit. You realize something is wrong, you reported it, you raise alarm here and there, because by the time you were trying to fight them, you're actually fighting a massive organization. Because you're not fighting that person directly, you are fighting the whole borough council. That's what you're doing. And they have this way of quickly finding a way to cover themselves up. Because they believe they are big, they are too big to fail. But sometimes if you know your stuff and stand by what you are doing, and you do the right thing at the right time, there is 70% chance that you will escape through and they will be immense. So you must find a way to report this. You make sure you report to the right person, and if they are delaying everything, escalate it. Everyone will not fall. Just make sure that you do the right thing. Don't jump your coordinator, your manager, and then trying to be the good one, and then report to the social services or the police. You'll be a mess. Because at the beginning, you might be thinking that way they will protect you, they will not refer it. But as the case progresses, the name will come out. The name will come out. So it's because the police will realize that you are not doing the right thing. They realize you are not doing the right thing. So, and that is something big. So just make sure you know what you are doing and that you report at the right time. Okay, after reporting, doing that one, that was what, when I finished that one, you have duty of care towards your client, and then you should know how to report. Then I then went into the issue, I think the third week. That's when we fill entry. That was one of the messages that I received during the week. And even where I work, the same thing happened. Okay, this is fill entry. Fill entry procedures. Most of the organizations have got their policies and procedures about this. But I find it so difficult that over 70 to 80% of the carrier, they're still making the same mistakes. They're doing the same thing. Fill entry is when you go to your client and you're unable to get access into the house. What most of carrier does is to leave that client and quickly go to another client, to go and take to that client, thinking that they might lose money or it will waste their time. But my own experience actually tells me something else. Most of the time, what really happens is that by the time you leave that client, the client will be going 7 o'clock. You don't know what is going on at the other side of the door. and they were unable to open the door for you 7 o'clock, and you leave that place to quickly go to another client, thinking that you go there and later come back here. What of if there are problem? What of if there is distress? That's why I set an example of what happened. I will not use that example again now because something just happened just past week. One of my carers went to a client, and then they were unable to get access. They asked the neighbor. The neighbor said, okay, we saw her yesterday night. She even sent on an errand, and maybe she's gone to the hospital. Maybe she's gone to the hospital without letting us know. So the carer said, at that particular point, she remember what I normally tell her, that, okay, don't ever leave. And I forget about what I even tell you. The policy of the organization actually tells you what to do. Immediately that happens, you tell your coordinators and call fire services. If they have family, call their family member quickly. Are they with you? They are not with us. Do they know anything about? We don't call fire services because they might be with their family member. If they are with their family member, it's much more easier. So they okay, they are there. Thank you very much for checking and thank you very much for calling us. That's all. That's the end of that one. But in the case that you call their family member or they don't even have family member around, and then you realize that they live alone, you call fire services. I've been in a situation where fire services even threatening me, if you knock this door down, you will repair it. I'd rather repair the door than being in prison, one of the two. So I have to choose the one that I want. So you have to knock that door down. I don't care. I will repair that door with few quid, but being in prison can take me all my life career. So they call the police, the fire services, and then they went through the back. They couldn't get entry into the house. So what they now did is they went through the back, just past week, and they went through the back, and the lady was actually in coma. The lady was in coma. So, and they took him before they now rally around, call the ambulance, everybody, all this stuff, and they took her to the hospital. This is what I said. You have no right to leave that door. Something should be talking to you that, wait a minute. This is your client. This is very rare. This is where you knock the door and they open the door for you. And suddenly you knock that door and nobody opened that door for you. Even most importantly, when you even went there yesterday evening for the back call, the last call of the day, it was good night, see you tomorrow. And the following day you got there, you're unable to see them tomorrow. My dear, that 1 minute, that 5 minutes, that 1 hour that you spend extra there will save you, I don't know how many years you want to use on that. Because when you live there and you go to another client, and by the time you come back, somebody has come down, maybe they are a family member or a neighbor to open the door, you will be in mess. You will be in mess, your organization will be in mess. But let me tell you one thing. So far, your organization actually gave you all the necessary tools. I mean, training, and give you the policy and procedures to read. You will be in mess. Gone are the days when safeguarding is directly to the organization. Right now, it actually starts from the carrier. So far, they give you the necessary tools for you not to be able to make that kind of a mistake. You are in problem. You are in a mess. So, and I don't know why you're gonna put yourself in mess because of fee quid. I don't know the reason why. Because when you calculate all the money you'll be making throughout your career being a carer, to the problem of about a year or two, you realize that it's about times 1,000. So, but why should we put ourselves in that kind of a mess? Why should we? Because of, okay, you don't want to miss that client. I would rather miss that client. What you need to do, just call your office. Because of this, you can't live there. You need to get to the bottom of this issue. And you will get there. So that is there. We've covered duty of care. We've covered how to report something that can lead to safeguarding issue. And then we've covered no return policy. It depends. It depends on no entry policy, no return policy, no something policy. Organizations have got it differently. If you don't know, if your organization is not, okay, this is what you ask. That is one thing. That is very, very important. I believe during induction, they must have put you through. They will surely tell you, don't put yourself in mess. Don't allow, I call them rogue. I have rogue carer, rogue managers, rogue coordinators to destroy your life. There is steps to get in this job. There is processes, policies and procedures. So far you follow all those processes and procedures, I bet you won't have problem in this job. You won't have any issue in this job. Okay, then we started medication about 2-3 weeks ago. I think we missed last week because of internet issue. So then we move into, what's the name, to medication. Because I don't know the reason why. One of the area, a gray area in domiciliary care is administration of medication. I can say 7 out of 10 care actually made mistake. In a home, it's much more easier because you have everything in your hand. As you are giving it, you taking it. As you are giving it, you initial. As you are giving it, you initial, and then you do the rounds. But here, there are lots of things you have to put into consideration. You have to know lots about medication. This job has gone beyond just wiping the bum. Yeah, because when you are administering medication, you've got to know everything about medication as if you are a nurse when you're not. But that is what the job requires. You've got to know the regulations that guided that medication administration, the law that guided medication administration. You've got to know it. It's just like you being a carer, you are giving a controlled drugs. Do you have the right to give controlled drugs? You are not trained, so you cannot. So you must know this regulation very well. And then I move into policies and procedures of organization. There are some companies that will tell you they have policy of not administering anything that is not in blister pack. I believe you all know, if you're a carer, you know what I mean by blister pack. And there are some that, okay, they administer everything. Though, nice policy and procedure said at the first week, if you're in domiciliary, first few weeks of hospital discharge, because they will still need to send referral to the GP, from GP straight to the pharmacist. It might take a week or a week plus for them to get blister pack around. So you will still be giving from the pieces, from the pieces of medication. So maybe you take this bottle, you check the everything. So you must know the policy and procedures of your organization. Do I have the right to be administering from blister pack or from the pieces of the medication, or my organization actually support the O2? You have to know it. So if your organization said it has to be in blister pack, when you get to a client's house, you flag it off immediately. That medication is not in blister pack. Then your coordinator can deal with that, calling the pharmacist to put in blister pack, which is most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, they will do. They will do. It's only in a home, I think they stop it because it's very, very expensive to do. But within domiciliary setup, they're still doing it because it's somehow confusing. I can bet you. It's very, very confusing. So then they will give, once you know your policy, your policy of your organization pertaining to whether I'm blister pack or pieces, then you don't. Then you've got to know the classification of this medication. It's like somebody giving you home remedy to give. Do you have the right to support with home remedy? If not, you have to talk. Don't say that because you don't want to lose that client, or you don't want that client to hate you or to dislike you, so you won't flag it. No, it's absolutely wrong. You have to say it out. I'm not allowed to administer anything which is home remedy. I'm very sorry. This is what I have the right to do. And there are some family that even from the blister pack, they will pop out medication all around for you to administer. That is even the worst. And you see some carer who goes ahead to administer that kind of medication. Do you know what they put in that thing? You are not the one that pop it out from the blister pack. Somebody just lay it out for you and you administer it. Sometimes when I get into this kind of a thing, you just, come on, because of what? Because of you want to be good in presence of that client or what? No, you have to do the right thing. You have to do the right thing. Then, you then know the classification and all the rights. Some people have even 11 rights. I mean, is it the right name? Is it the right dose? That is when I even cited an example of one of my carer where I was working sometimes. She happened to be very, very experienced. She was the one that raised the alarm about medication review. We reviewed the medication with the doctor, with the GP. They review it. Okay, they promise. Okay, in the next few days, they will send the medication to the client, which they did. But it was the wrong thing. When they brought medication, they actually brought medication for another client. But when they gave it to the wardens within the home, immediately they gave it to the warden for another client. They started talking about this particular client of ours. So they spoke to about the pharmacist and those two wardens. They spoke about her for about 10 to 15 minutes. And by the time they finished talking, the warden now thought it was the medication. Instead of checking the name of the medication, it was the client we were talking about that owned the medication. It just dumped it into her room. When she came in as a carer, she thought, okay, the medication that we reviewed that they promised they would deliver, they've delivered it without checking the name of the medication, and was giving the medication to the wrong person. It was a hell. I was informed. I just jumped into the action when I heard about the whole thing. But I didn't sweep it under the floor, under the carpet, no. I actually followed the necessary steps that I need to follow. That is when the duty of conduct came in. I actually called the doctor, the GP, I called the ambulance people, all those everything. So we had the initial assessment. Safeguarding was raised on it. At the end of the day, it's supposed to be company issue with her. Company was free because we did what we need to do. The carer was suspended. She'll be losing money, and she doesn't know where it will end. So she was so lucky that the person that even owned the medication in the first place have actually got medication for another 2 weeks. Because that person was on dialysis, that would have been even worse. Because medication, when you're on dialysis with that medication, you're going to be, maybe it will be on manslaughter. It can be a case of manslaughter if that person died. So at the end of the day, she was fortunate that that person still has medication. This medication does not cause any harm to this current one, apart from some stripes on her arm. Then, but she actually faced a lot. She was out of job for months. She was retrained and then followed the necessary steps that she needs to follow. So what I'm saying in essence is that you have to check the name of the medication. It's very, very important. Is it the right dose? Does it belong to the name? Does it belong to that person? Is it the right dose? And then all the remaining herbs. And then you need also the right of the client to reverse the medication. So you have to put that one into consideration. So, and I show you how to fill my chart. I think my time is up. But before I go, I just want to inform you about one thing. On this channel, I'll be having, next month, we'll be having another program coming in. And then that is a newspaper review. I'll be here with my other two colleagues, my doctors, my two doctors in the house. We'll be reviewing newspaper, mainly Nigeria newspaper, on politics, education, sports, everything. It will cover everything. So I want you to be on the lookout for this program. It's gonna be a very good program. Another one that I have here again is another one is this. I also have this, which is movie review, film reviews, mainly the same thing, mainly Nigerian films. Just what do you think about those films, what we feel, the targets, how we feel the film will be doing in the market, and also the new films that will be coming out, we will let you know. And then you can have your say about what you feel about each films and the nature of our film industry. Nigeria is one of the highest film producing country in the world, apart from Bollywood. I think Nigeria Nollywood is the second largest. So all this film, is it coming the right sequence, or is it the right time they change the course, or are they doing well? All those stuff we'll be discussing it on this program. So yeah, that is that one. So let me go back to what I'm actually saying. I will be rounding up now because I believe my time has already gone. Maybe I can just add few minutes to talk about that mashup. Like as I said, 70% of carers make mistake about medication mashup recording. 70% of domiciliary. I don't know the reason why. It is one of the easiest thing to do. Medication, maybe from my own point of view, is one of the easiest things to do. What you need to do, you administer this medication and then you fill it up. You just initiate it. And if they reverse it, just put out and write the note at the back of the MOMA chart, straightforward. But whenever people see that my chart, they rather write on communication record sheet rather than write on my chart. It just as if, wow, everything is gonna fall now. What is this? I don't know. It's just a sheet of paper. A design sheet of paper with some columns and dates. Today is 10, today is 20. I have administered this medication, you initiate that medication, I initiate that one, you initiate. Most especially medication in blister pack. Though recently I now realize that why people don't want to do that is because we have different motives about this job. We work for, every one of us work for different reasons. There are some nurses, there are some doctors, it's not that they all. If you're in this job and you do not have passion for the job, you shouldn't be in that job. And that is what I see in this field. There are a lot of people in this job that do not have passion for it. They just do it for the sake of doing. Because if they have passion, you want to know more about the field that you are in. For instance, when they say you have to know your medication, even if it is the blister pack, because they gather about 3 or 4 medications together. But inside that blister pack, they've already color-coded them. You've seen the color, you've seen the name. So you know that, okay, A, B, C, D, this is the color of this is the shape of this one. Oval shape, this shape, that one shape, this color, white, cream color, pink color. So you then realize that, okay, this medication, this is what it is. And then you initiate them. Where I even work, we normally do one thing. We even put it there, what that medication does. So you'll be able to familiarize yourself with everything there. Even for your own personal use, whenever they mention a medication, you'll be able to know, okay, that medication is for this. And if there is adverse effect of that medication on your client, you'll be able to pick it up on time. Your organization must have done their medication administration assessment before you even start the medication. So you know the necessary, what they need, what the client needs, what you should be doing. So far you know what you should be doing, and you have the necessary training, I don't know why you should make mistake. It's one of those areas that whenever I look at my martial arts, I just laugh sometimes. Because it's more or less a straightforward thing. A straightforward thing. And I remember I mentioned something too. That is why I mentioned that. Okay, because when they said prompt, carer prefer to be prompting than admission because they thought they would not be able to feel Marshall. That is gone. There's nothing like that anymore. There's nothing like that anymore. Once you prompting medication, you have to put it down. Because for you to be able to be prompting your client, something is wrong. Something is missing somewhere. It's either that client forget to take their medication sometimes, or they are the initial stage of maybe dementia. Something. So when somebody is at the initial stage of dementia, and you prompting the medication and you're not putting it down, how would they be able to remember? Or anybody that comes in to check, how would they be able to remember you've given them medication if you're not putting it down? So it is not a mandatory thing. There's nothing like prompting anymore. Once you prompt, it's as good as you administering. You have to make sure that you complete your Marshall. Medication administration report chart. Very easy. Very easy to fill. I might be saying it, you might be listening to me and I'll be saying that, okay, maybe for you it's easy. That's why I say it. Because it's just like that, the O2B that we're using when we were writing the math something in it. Arithmetic inside it. Very, very easy something. You just write, okay, in your initial. Recently I saw some of my this in taking it. You don't take. Imagine there was a mistake or there's a mistake. Who's going to be responsible for it? You don't take. You have to initiate. I'm not talking about a home. A home, they know those who work on that day. Though I will know those who work on that day. But when you have 2 or 3 people working, or it's double up, and you take, when the problem comes in, it is then you realize that you guys are not friends, you are colleagues. You see somebody that will just deny, I'm not the one who administered medication, and he or she might be the one. But because they realize that we are 2, she's ready to lie to the end, because nobody wants to go into the gulag. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody must go through the necessary thing. So I think I will be for the next six minutes in order to round up. So just know your stuff. Another thing I want to talk about, but I think I would rather talk about it next week. That is when you have the medication that comes out from Pivotal. Maybe I should just quickly talk about it. Because Pivotal are the machines that actually always set up to alert the client at a particular point in time. Maybe they have to take their medication 7 o'clock, it will come out 7 o'clock. If it is lunchtime, it will come out at exactly that time. And those are for people who probably maybe they have initial stage of their dementia. So once that thing alarm sound, they'll be able to remember to take their medication. But they still forget their medication. So most of the time, there's a need for a carer to support them by reminding them. It's the same thing with in blister pack. It's always color-coded. We say that it's always color-coded. The paper, the note is always there. This pink medication, this is the name. This white medication, this is the name. This one is oval shape, this is the name. They will give you the shape and the name. Yours is just to look at what's the name, your Marshall. And then you'll be able to pick it up. Okay, this is this, and you initial, and you get away. That is medication from the Pivotal machine. You don't need to stress yourself. That is 9 out of 10 times. I've seen even the experienced one, the so-called experienced carer, they do make these little mistakes. And even when, okay, let's say you go to, there's another thing that I mentioned, I remember now. When you go to your client's house and you realize that, okay, they just delivered medication. They've not sent a Marshall from your office and you've got to write it down in your hand. Someone else needs to initiate that you are doing the right thing. When you write it down, when you use your hand to write it down, somebody, your colleague that is there with you, needs to initiate to say that, okay, what you wrote down is actually correct. That is the policy of even secrecy. If secrecy comes to you for inspection, they visually ask. Once you have handwritten marshal, it's supposed to be initiated by the second person. Then you can then report to your office, okay, we've received another set of medication or this one. Then they can create marshal and send it down to you. And that one, it can be only Mr. A, Mr. B. If this is my name, just MO, boom, I've initiated it. And if they refuse it, or they're having not said they have everything, I just want to put the sign. I just need to put it there. So, and then turn to the back. There's a place I can put note, and I will put the note there. All these things are very simple, but it has to be with your skill, your know-how. Nothing is isolation. This is not a job that, okay, I look after my grandfather. That is what people are. Have you done this job for years? I look after my mom. I too, I look after my dad. I always say them, even you can look after everybody in your household. I too, I look after my dad before my dad died. So forget about that one. You've got to do, after, and then you do induction. That is 110%. You've got to do it. And you see people who will be telling you, I've been in this job for decades. That doesn't concern me. The way company A works is totally from the way company B works. But from where I come from, that is what people want to do. They just want to jump straight into the work. They want to walk before they start to crawl. They don't want to crawl. If you go to, even if you change a house, it is not the way you open or the door you might be in this A house, the door might be open outside. It might be B house, the door might be open inside. So there are differences in company, the way they do their things. So you don't just jump from, okay, I know this job. Yes, you'll be respected for having that kind of experience. It's just that you'll be able to catch up quickly, to know what you are doing quickly than somebody that is just working in. But induction processes, you do it. But the problem is just that we just want to jump straight into the job. Yeah, I'm going to stop it for today. And next week, we'll be coming with another topic entirely. And I believe you've enjoyed it. If there is anything you want me to handle, or you want me to do a program on, just let me know. Anything you want me to talk about, just let me know. I will do justice to that topic. As I'm saying, this is not a training. I just taking the bits and pieces that I know that people are making mistakes around within the social care, within a domiciliary care, in order for our carer not to make that kind of mistake again. It is, I can say it's a very easy thing, but sometimes it's not that straightforward. I know you guys are doing a very great job, and I really give you a kudos. It's not easy to be running around. Winter, summer, spring, everything, it is all about you. So until next week again, from me, Murphy Ojo, bye.